India is not generating momentum. We started a journey in 2009 as a microfinance institution. Our intent then was to buy financial services products for our customer. That was the genesis of Suryoday as a small finance bank. Many of the low-income household customers do not look at bank as somebody who is only advising. And if you ask them to save monthly, probably the answer will be no. UPI has really changed that, and that I think is a dream we are living. Currently, we'll also be extremely careful. Can I become the bank that they love? That trust leads to further trust.
Welcome to another Kyndryl podcast. Today, we are extremely excited and lucky to have Mr. Baskar Babu Ramachandran. He is the Managing Director and the CEO of Suryoday Small Finance Bank. Baskar, welcome to the podcast. Absolutely delighted to have you with us and very thrilled to spend some time with you. To our audience, firstly, maybe you can introduce Suryoday Small Finance Bank. I know you've had an illustrious career. So a little bit about where you were, the fact that you founded the bank, and how you grew. A little, maybe a summary of that, and then we can dive into our podcast as well.
Thanks, Cyrus. It's a pleasure talking to you. Yeah, we at Suryoday started a journey in 2009 as a microfinance institution based out of Pune. Our intent then was to buy financial services products for our customer, which are predominantly low income but however aspirational households of the country. So the journey lasted for 6, 7 years. At 2015, we somehow wanted to deliver both sides of the balance sheet for the customer, which is on the savings side as well as on the lending side.
Indeed.
We said, is there a way in which we can deliver banking products? Obviously, we did not even dream of ever becoming a banking by ourselves. It is a scarce licensed commodity in our country. But in 2015, the regulator decided to give differentiated banking licenses to make banking literally inclusive, not just
Mm.
asking the larger banks to be inclusive, but making smaller institution to think big, become big, and be really, really inclusive. That was the genesis of Suryoday as a small finance bank, successful applicant of the 72. 10 of us were given the in principle, and we became a small finance bank mainly to cater or focus on financial inclusion. And we became a bank on 23rd of Jan 2017. It's a
Wow.
8 year journey and then moving towards 9 years. It has been a journey with little bit of a challenges, but with lots of opportunities alongside. As banking is a real long haul business, we connect the dots backwards at this point of time. What are challenges that we are kind of face is probably are going to make us a lot more stronger, survive far more full fledged, and then obviously I think we'll become far more successful having serving millions of customers.
True, true. Talking about millions of customers, I'm from Pune, crowded space. Bajaj is there, and Poonawalas are there, and the small guys are there. Despite that, Bhaskar, kudos. Not only did you grow, but millions of customers, 500 branches, and I think you're still on a very good, solid growth trajectory, right? So, what's fueling this growth? I mean, what are you doing? What's the secret sauce, I guess, making you successful?
I think there are enough of lenders, there are enough of banks. I think someone focused to deliver to the same customer, which is sachet, small ticket lending. You have lots of MFIs, you have lots of NBFCs
True.
doing small ticket personal loans. So then you have the banks, which are really looking at the small deposit accounts, BSBD accounts. A
Right.
combination of the same customer cater to both a small loan as well as in terms of a small deposit and a good insurance. Many of the low income household customers do not look at bank as somebody who is only advising. They are looking
True.
at the bank or the financial institution as somebody whom they can trust and almost give the decision making right to them. Call it in a right manner, a power of attorney. You decide for us, but please be responsible enough to decide what is good for us. And
True.
that, I think, having been an MO5, handling millions of customers even before that, gave us the understanding that the best way for our customers to grow and for us to be comfortable in terms of having an exposure to them and really see them grow is to really make them safe. And if you ask them to save monthly, probably the answer will be no. Weekly,
Yeah.
probably yes. But if you're able, willing to kind of motivate them to save daily, they can.
Yeah.
And earlier in a non-digital world, the daily saving meant they had to keep the cash physically and then go and deposit in the bank physically at some point of time. Today, I think UPI has really changed that I can really save 50 rupees by click of a button. And that I think is a dream we are living currently.
Very true. Very true, Bhaskar. Very well put as well. I mean, you see, again, people follow herd mentalities, the same customer segment, the same sort of account. I give a credit card, you give one, and you have found a bit of a niche. And you were so right. The daily savings, the weekly savings, the monthly savings, and that heavy pressure, fiduciary pressure that you are the de facto advisor, the Munimji, so to say, that will give the right advice. That is fantastic. Bhaskar, I wanted to ask you, throughout these journeys, you've been involved from day one. You were one of the founders of the bank. Uh, what do you think, which segment in India, Inc., is growing? I mean, is it the unbanked? Is it the gig economy and the daily worker, the labor, the carpenter, the locksmith? Or is it something that is untapped, you think, and you're going after those? Again, without giving away the secret sauce.
Same I think across the board, I think, as somebody said, India is not generating momentum. India is the momentum.
Yeah, yeah.
So across board, you're seeing it. And I think what we are really coming to realize is any growth without inclusion is not an option. It is not a choice. If
True.
that were not to happen, the entire momentum will break. It will can stop growth dead on its track. It's almost like compliance, almost like controls. So even for a growth momentum to continue, leaving aside the fact that it is good for the society as a whole, any growth which is not inclusive in a country like ours with 1.4 billion population is not going to be long sustaining. I think fortunately, I think the government has been able to really kind of give, not only every government probably would have known, there has been enough of a focus on each of the segments. Like we had
True.
Jandan accounts coming in, followed by the stack, and the stack kind of delivering now credit or savings seamlessly. Nobody needs to kind of wait for their turn. It gets delivered to the other linked account, government benefit. So all of this simultaneously happening probably for the quite some time now. We're seeing the momentum across all segments. So we'll cater to the low income households on the lending side. We'll cater to HNI and the larger super HNIs probably on the deposit side at this point of time. Two the little distinct segments, but we are seeing a momentum or kind of a positiveness across. The challenge is, will it sustain? How long will it sustain, and what can we do to make it sustain?
Fantastic. Oh, so it's not just one segment. And again, as you very correctly put, if you're in that momentum, you need to be agile enough to have the products, the segment, and the type of services. Now, I'll use the word phygital, which is physical and digital, and you've been a champion. And Bhaskar, in our profession, when we are looking at RFIs and RFPs, when we're looking at vendor selection, we look at how far away or distant sometimes the CEOs are, but not you. You were very hands on, you were very knowing about what is needed. So if it's physical channels, I know what to do. If it's digital only channels, I know what to do. Help us understand, how did you come to this realization in the bank? I mean, what was your driver to saying, guys, this is what is changing. Let's preemptively service this segment through digital and this segment through physical. I mean, how did you juggle that?
So I think most of the customers are becoming digital, but however, some want to be doing only digitally. There's a clear digitally native, as everybody refers to them, is that they actually do not want to engage in a phone conversation with you. They don't want to come to you unless it is required. There's another set which actually wants to do transactions digitally, but advice or anything which is beyond transaction, face to face. Still, that
Right.
comfort of I met you, and doesn't really matter that I have to spend 15 minutes to reach you. I'm absolutely okay. So all of this really existing at this point of time. Probably there are people who still want to come to the branch and ask for a fixed deposit receipt, while it is not any more negotiable, which means that you can take as many receipts as you want. Amount will get credited back into your bank account. But the comfort, they kind of put a draw. So we cannot kind of go and change the behavior and say that, "No, why do you really require?" Logically not required. But if that is what gives them the emotional comfort, that is what gives them an opportunity to meet you, to chat with you, You should be welcoming them. So that's one segment. The other segment is that I will do all my transactions digitally. I don't want to really come to the bank branch. But however, probably when I need something, I want to kind of meet up with you, or I want to spend some time with you because I placed 50 lakh rupees deposit with you. I want to be comfortable that it's really safe or reinforce it. So, which is probably one segment. There's another segment which is I'm comfortable. I know I've done enough of work. I know I've got a government guarantee for 5 lakh rupees of deposit. I would love to deal with you only through digital means.
Hmm.
All three are coexisting at this point of time, probably will coexist for at least a decade or little more. Then there is this inclusive segment, which is digital at the household level, but not digital at the individual level. So the lady of the household says that I don't do the transactions. I'll tell my husband, I'll tell my son, or tell my daughter who will pay the bills, who will kind of do the transactions. So the household is this is a fourth segment, probably I can call it, where at the household level they're digital, they're kind of comfortable, but my customer probably is not. So, but then I'll have to have an assisted digital or assisted
True,
digital, a
true,
combination of
true.
that. That the household is happy to sit around and do everything digitally, but I need to kind of reach out to them and I'll do a probably an in-person KYC. So I think four coexist at this point of time. The ability to toss one with the other and coexist, I think, makes quite a bit of an impact both from a cost perspective as well as in terms of servicing the customer.
So true, so true. My father, being one of them, loves to walk up to your branch,
Yeah.
insist that he collect that paper, and then he is convinced that the money is there and his investments are safe. Bhaskar, switching tracks now, a little bit about the technology play. And again, we talked about the partnership with Kyndryl, but more importantly, your adoption of technology, your understanding of it, and the fact that there are all these enablers, there are solutions, and then systems integration partners, and of course the whole stack. So we are not going to dive into the actual nuances of technology, but help me understand your understanding on where and how does a true partnership with a technology player like Kyndryl come in? I mean, how do you even do you give them KPIs? Do you dictate saying, "Ye karna hai, we will have to do this," or is it a true partnership? Help me understand what that construct looks like.
So I think it's extremely important, Cyrus, in a completely technology dependent, not just from a purpose of doing your processes, but to create magical customer experiences. The way
True.
startups like us, I would still call us as a startup, is to really sweat the technology to the expertise of partners. And as long
Ah,
as the partner is not interested necessarily in just a pure commercial equation as it plays out at this point of time, I'm sure all good partnerships transform themselves to win-win. Sometimes they don't necessarily look like win-win at the point of a partnership's commencement, but I think the ability of Kindle to see that as a player that where we will continue to be innovative, and then we will certainly kind of grow in size much bigger than we can kind of put it in a business plan. And I think equally important, I think the cultural part is very extremely critical. Irrespective of whatever due diligences you do, whatever KPIs you rightly mentioned, you give, it's all can really work beautifully before the transaction gets concluded. And post that, it is a culture which will either sets the momentum that it is working very well. I think to that extent, I think with Kindle, we were very clear that we are going to be probably the first banking partner as a Kindle in India. We
true.
said, can you kind of more than just a commercial partner, can we work together? And we got a sense that it will, and glad that he did. So always we
Fantastic.
call. I think
Fantastic. As beloved Mr. Modi would put it, "Sabka vikas, saath mein," that kind of thing. So that win-win situation, I completely concur, Bhaskar. Very few companies have that deep commitment to a account. So, I mean, they almost become a jodidar or a partner with you, and they begin to understand your requirements, maybe sometimes even before you can anticipate it. And that's a true partnership. So fantastic to see that it's going that way. With regards to technology partnership, I per se think that there is a huge amount of hype around agentic AI and AI. But then I was corrected when we were with TechCircle and we were talking to various other banks. We found out that there were some low hanging fruit. And financial institutions in India have started using and adopting AI, agentic AI, generative AI, sometimes for documents, sometimes for fraud detection. sometimes for a lot more use cases. So, where do you sit in this balance and act? I mean, have you started playing with that, using that, harnessing that, or are you just exploring right now?
So again, Cyrus, I think it's been a classic case where we are partnered with Kyndryl. We toss up ideas. We say, "Hey, this can happen," and they say, "Why not?" And kind of we probably have the I would call it more expertise at the field level to exactly
Great.
dream on behalf of our customers and say that, "Hey, this will be wonderful for the customer, or this will be wonderful for the bank." But you need somebody who can collate all of that and put it and say, "Yes, it's possible," and we're happy to kind of discover. I think the
True.
ability to kind of partner for discovery because we won't know what exactly will come out of it. I think easiest to use is customer service side, at least easiest to start using it. I won't say easier to do, but it's a lot more controlled. You can really do it. I think which is where the first phase starts. Can you call more efficiently? Can you call at the right time? Can you call with the right message? And can you kind of take the feedback, make it all through chat bots? That's I think phase one. Phase two usually starts with control, compliance functions. There's so many circlers. Can you all put it together? Can we tell me in a page what I need to do more than I was doing prior rather than compiling it? The third and the most
Mm.
beautiful, which is where we would also be extremely careful in terms of consent management, making sure the data is used for the right purposes, don't really go beyond what the customer wants and personalization. I don't want to really tell them that every day at 8 o'clock you go to a particular joint. No, they don't want to be reminded of some of the things that they haven't got consented to allow me to use that info. But this, I
Sure.
think, the third phase is where it can be super good for the customers. If everybody knows what exactly I require, I want to be reminded on 10th that the bill is due.
True.
But I don't want to the system to read what all I really spend in every kind of an hour. So that I we're able to get that in that personalization, that basis, that is going to be beautiful in terms of delivering the best of services across the board. So you don't then you can democratize excellence to my customer with a 1,000 rupees balance as much as I can do for a customer with a 1 lakh rupees balance or a 10 lakh rupees balance.
Fantastic. Democratizing intelligence. Now, that is a term that I think we should quickly, brand as intellectual property for Suryoday Small Finance Bank. Bhaskar, we talked about your business growth, the drivers behind it, your segmentation that you beautifully articulated. We talked about the role of technology and the partners such as Kyndryl. I'll leave you with one futuristic question. uh, we are in a multipolar world. You know, the world has gone literally mad with all of these wars and uncertainties. But we were very lucky. India not only is a growth story, as you very succulently put, it's not momentum, it is the momentum. India itself is the momentum. Where do you see, firstly, of course, Suryoday Small Finance Bank in the next 3 years, maybe just crystal balling? Where do you see India is going to go? Are we going to be agriculture or manufacturing or SMEs or all of the above? Where do you see this growth for India, and then of course thereafter coming to you in Suryoday as well? I mean, where do you see next 3 years?
See, there are lots of institutions. Each one picks their spot. Some want to play all the segments. Some want to play something which we'll understand or we love catering to. The low income segment is not staying low income. It's becoming the middle class, and then it'll become probably the little higher end of the middle class. We serve now currently approximately 1% of the Indian population, which is pretty large. I say statistically, I see 100 Indians. One of them happen to be Suryoday customers.
Well done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's really good. That one person of the households, not 1% of the.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there are 40 crore households. 40 lakh is 1%. I serve 1% of the household. So if there are 100 households, one statistically is Suryoday, even at our size. What do we do with them to kind of holistically serve? I serve one product. So they're my customers, but I don't really own the customer at the household level. I own just the customer. There's a lot more to
Correct.
do at the household level. But you also increasingly realize that it's health insurance or this. I want to take it if I know that I can trust Cyrus. Cyrus is telling me do it. I do not really want to ask too many questions. One, I don't can't understand. I don't want to understand. After 6 months, somebody says that you got the right advice. I feel really vindicated that I trusted you. And that trust leads to further trust. And equally important is that we are responsible to handle the trust. If I have to really crystal gaze, what we did in 8 years in terms of deposit customers, through digital means we achieved it in the last 1.5 years. The power of digital is not just scale, It gives you full control in terms of if there is a customer service issue, you can able to kind of respond to it. You can do it over digital means, which means it's faster. We thought we will do a million customers to create on UPI, but likely that we will do it in 4 months' time. So
True.
what we thought in 12 months or 15 months is happening in 4 months. Now I'll really reset myself and say, can I serve probably 5% of the Indian household full fledged? Where can I become the bank that they love? Not just I get my pie of profits growing, which obviously it will. So, but more importantly, can those 5% households say, we're good because Surya, they did really play a meaningful part in our financial growth. So, to put use the cliche, probably can we be the meaningful wealth manager or wealth advisors for our 5% of the Indian households? Currently, we are
True.
wanting to do it one more, and probably four later.
Wow. Okay. You really opened up our minds and our eyes with regards to how even a relatively new player and a small, nimble bank such as the Suryoday Small Finance Bank can achieve the growth story, can have the segmentation that is inclusive and sustainable. You're able to harness technology. You're able to look at futuristic technologies such as agentic banking and AI to fuel your growth whilst you are being truly customer centric. So kudos to you and to Suryoday Small Finance Bank and your team, and of course to Kyndryl for being such a successful partner. I wish you all the very best, Bhaskar. Thank you very much for joining us. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Baskar Babu Ramachandran, Managing Director and CEO of Suryoday Small Finance Bank in India, a partner and a true partner of Kyndryl. So thank you very much again.
Thank you, Cyrus. Bye.